Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about Battle of Titans. As you guys know, it's back on the Google Play Store, and today we're going to talk about it. I have some new ideas about the armor and weapons, and then some complaints also about the game. So let's begin. First things first is going to be the armor. I really like the idea of the armor actually showing up on the robot. As you guys can see, I call this Titan the Mayo Titan, so or MAO. As you guys can see, I have two right here. One has medium armor, and the other has no armor. There is some subtle differences between them, and they're very noticeable. Um, so I really like that on about this game is it shows the armor and counting on which one you have on your Titan kind of shows up on the Titans, and that's very cool when it comes to cosmetics and looks of Titans, for your Titans. And I think the next step will be to add reactive armor. Doesn't have to look pretty, doesn't have to be lined up, but I feel like it can add new things to the game. Like, for instance, it exploding after being fired at multiple times. Kind of, it can also help Titans stay alive for a bit longer without adding too much weight to the actual Titan, just so you can be a little bit faster. And like I said, it doesn't have to look pretty on the Titan. It just it can look like those T-64s with reactive armor all around the turret and hull. They don't look pretty, but I guess it works. And I think it would be nice to have reactive armor on the Titans. And that's all I got out of the armor part. I was thinking about like reflectors and stuff, but it's too. I feel like it's too risky right now. Just having reactive armor as a another way of having armor protection would work. The next thing we're gonna talk about are weapons. I really like these weapons that I'm running on the MAO Titan, the Vulcan weapons. They're very nice weapons. The way they work is they fire every single rocket and then they reload and then they fire again. They're not like a continuous reload. They just fire everything, reload, and then fire again. But there is a weapon that does reload and fire at the same time, and it has a bit more range. Uh, but I prefer these weapons over that one. But it looks like this. Let's see. This is what the weapon looks like. It has 1,000 meter max range is 1,000 meters. These weapons work, but I prefer the close range rocket weapon. These I enjoy so much. I just wish there was for each weapon a heavy, medium, and light versions of each weapons. Just so, for instance, if I want to run it on Nelly, I can run it on Nelly, and the weapons I have on Nelly, I can run on MAO or other Titans. And I really want to see shotguns in the game. I know we have cannons, but I really want to see shotguns, different versions. Like example, a shotgun, normal shotgun, two-barrel shotgun, or a multi-barrel shotgun, or one, or I guess one barrel would just be a cannon. But shotguns would be very nice to see in this game. Long-range weapons would be nice to see. I know the Nelly has machine guns and the Ravager has machine guns, but I feel like we should see different versions of machine guns also in the game would be very nice. And I know so many people want long range weapons. Um, yeah, yeah, I feel like I hope the game still keeps improving. I know we had an update, I believe, I don't remember, uh, August 9th, I believe it was, the last update. So I hope the updates keep coming and more new products come to the game. Weapon wise, I really want to see shotguns and um, more machine guns and more, more weapons. I really, for the most, I really want to see, um, a family of each weapon, like heavy, medium, and light versions. And that's uh, part of the ideas that I had. Now let's kind of move on to the complaints. The complaints I've been mostly having lately is the first one is Nelly. I know in the old version of Battle of Titans, I think I don't remember, but I feel like you were able to get down from rails or hills, not hills, but like rails, like in the desert, just by actually facing down or going down with the from the pole. But in this version, you cannot get down from the rails without jumping. I feel I could be wrong. I probably just don't remember, but I feel like you were able to get down with Nelly without actually jumping. I could be wrong, but now you just can't get down. For instance, if you do lose your jump from being damaged, you will not be able to get down from the rails in the desert map. And yeah, and I really, there should be a way to get down from the rails without jumping. Um, I think that needs fixing. The next thing is weapon losses. I really don't like the fact that you can lose a lot of weapons just by being locked down or EMP'd by other robots and lose all your weapons just by getting fired at the weapons. I think to make it fair would be just to lose one weapon and then from there not being able to lose your other weapons would be fair, I think. But in general, I don't like the idea of losing weapons in general. Um, so, and then the third complaint I have is about the desert map. I think the desert map, the middle section, I believe number E it is, it has so much stuff in the middle. It's very hard to see what you're firing at with the trees in the middle, and then you got the buildings. And the fact that the trees are, you can walk through the trees makes it, in a way, more difficult. I feel like it would be nice if the Titans are walking past the trees and the trees fall down and don't reappear until the end of the game. But I feel like there's too much there in the middle section where it kind of blocks your view on what you're aiming at and what you're looking at. I feel like the trees can go. Um, yeah, I feel like removing the trees in general would make it easier, or putting the trees somewhere else would make it easier. Just it's so crowded in that middle part of that map. It overly complicates and it really blocks your view on what you're firing at sometimes. Even with the auto aim, you can't. Sometimes you're firing, you hit something, and then the next shot you don't hit nothing. You just can't see in that middle section because it's so crowded from the trees, the buildings, and everything that's there. It's crowded. So I feel like removing the trees would actually help out a bit. And I think that might be it out of the complaints that I have. If you guys have any other complaints or more ideas, I would happily read it in the comments section. That's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. I hope, like I said, I hope this game keeps improving because I'm still playing the game.